Hello and welcome to the final stream of the IPL by Mad About Sports. Of course, it's been 2 long months and we have a winner. We have the team in yellow taking the cup for the fifth time, the Chennai Super Kings. A very familiar territory for them, a very familiar name when it comes to the podium position. And of course, it is Mahendra Singh Dhoni getting his hands on the fifth title. It had to be him. Maybe you can all say it was written in the stars at the stars at the start of the IPL for him to win. The fans were behind him. The whole of the country was behind him. And you saw it yesterday. Narendra Modi Stadium was just at the sea of yellow, the yellow storm as they call it. I was cheering for this man, and what a finale! What a finale! 15 overs, 171 to win. Came down to the last two balls of the IPL, where Ravindra Jadeja, the man himself, who came to save Chennai Super Kings by scoring the winning runs. Last ball, 4 runs. It doesn't happen. These are things right from the dream world, isn't it, Antariksh? I have Antariksh with me. We are going to be talking about this stream. It's pretty exciting, of course, because that was one hell of a final.
Absolutely. And just before I start, chat myself, bow down to this guy. This guy named two players, Sai Sudarshan and Ravindra Jadeja. And both of them have absolutely just, taken the tie at this from the scruff of their necks and just taken the game away. They tried to. Sai Sudarshan tried to. He did for a moment. But then Ravindra Jadeja, from the other hand, salute to this guy who's alongside me. God, 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 God.
Absolutely, man. I'm just looking at those stats of Sai Sudarshan himself. 21 years of age to play that IPL final and to score the runs he did in the way in which he did. I'm not talking about the runs, the way in which he was taking on the bowling, the way in which he was getting that respect. I mean, I've seen a lot of players get ovation when they walk back into the dressing room. This was the entire contingent who came to, bow down to him. And that was just heartwarming. That was just heartwarming to see and have to be credit to Gujarat Titan. They have found a gem in this guy. And we did speak about it, why he was not used in the qualifying number one, but you saw this guy's got some potential. He's got some big, big potential. But let's talk about this finals, right? I mean, it was the longest ever T20 finals for sure. 3 days. It had to go to May the 30th to decide the winner. 12:10 was when it started, and of course, it had to be 15 overs. Give them some entertainment at least. You don't want a washout, and you don't want the defending champions to be the reigning champions, of course, once again. So, that Gujarat Titans obviously have the upper hand, and Duckworth Lewis method put Chennai in a position where you felt like it could be possibly out of reach. 15 overs, 171 is not a mere task. You really have to be on top of the game from the word go. You really need your openers to click, give that extremely good power play start, and then keep going. Every player who will come in will have to chip in because openers alone cannot do it. And that's exactly
Yeah,
what they did. They played as per the template. They played as they wanted to play.
yeah. Absolutely. And as you said, every guy would have to chip in, and that is exactly, quite literally, what happened. And I mean, they just from the moment they went out, Ruturaj got that boundary in one of the remaining three deliveries of the first over. It was just certain. It just looked. Then Convoy getting on the act, and it just felt from the word go that they had come out with intent. I had almost given up, and I did this sin of giving up on Chennai Super Kings, but I just almost, because it was a final. Like, come on, 15 overs, 170 plus to chase. No way. No way. And especially, maybe the pitch, which was a batting pitch, might have sort of slowed down a bit, dampened a bit, maybe the ball swinging or something. But no, no, no. And you know what? 10 runs from two balls actually was a false sort of perception for someone who didn't watch the game. Chennai Super
Yeah,
Kings almost won the game
yeah,
three overs
absolutely.
before, when
You
they
feel
had
that was a little bit of an
total control.
exaggeration or an aberration to take it to the last two balls? Because let's talk about Ambati Raidu, who was playing his last ever IPL game. I mean, it's about time we bow down to him as well because what
Yeah,
a phenomenal player. 6 titles, equaling Rohit Sharma himself. Won three with Chennai, won three with Mumbai. I mean, those are straight out of stories, man. You cannot do it.
yeah,
I mean, he should be the most diplomatic person, or he can be
yeah.
right there. He's right in the equilibrium. He knew it. I can win one more with Chennai, then I can say that I'm an equal player. Neither there's neither here. I am IPL champion for both of the most successful IPL franchises.
Yeah.
This guy coming into bat, taking on Rashid Khan, taking on someone like taking on Mohit Sharma there. That over, the 28 runs of 5 balls, 2 sixes of Rashid, which Shubham Dubey had smashed. Then when Mohit came to ball, hit 2 sixes and a four, 28 runs of 5 balls, taking it to 22 or 15. The match was done and dusted there. That was a turning point. That was the absolute turning point. Then you saw the ebbs and flows. Mohit came and took 2 wickets in 2 balls, but then Chennai was in control by then. It was in
Yeah.
absolute control.
Absolutely, as you said, 28 runs and 5 deliveries. That is where best part MSG not retiring yet, says Prakash. Oh man, let we will talk about that. But yeah, by the time he did that, I think the game was gone, and I don't know why. Was it for did we for the first time see Dhoni trying to take this the spotlight? I mean, after they'd
Mm,
gone out, I genuinely felt, with all due respect to the great guy himself, I felt no need for Dhoni to come out. He had done sort of little in terms of contribution from bat, and they had Moin Ali, who was there,
mm.
ready to smash as ever.
Maybe this. Every player has this one dream at some point, right?
Exactly.
Like the
I
last
mean,
dance, you call it the 3 pointer, which Michael Jordan had put in. Similarly, you have
exactly,
this dream. You have this dream. Come on, we all have it.
exactly,
As a childhood,
exactly.
when you grow up, you have this dream that you want to make your team the most successful, and you want to do it. And Dhoni
Yeah,
knew it was in his territory as well. I mean, he's got
yeah,
all the control. The best striker of this year's IPL. I mean, we can't discount on that fact that he's been
Hmm.
hitting the ball pretty well, and he's been hitting the ball pretty well against some of the quality ballers. So for him to
Right.
walk in, maybe it made sense, but I agree with you. I mean, it was time for Jadeja or maybe Moeen to walk in, and maybe not Dhoni
Well, but
zero
as
getting
they
out on zero
say,
to Mitchell.
whatever Dhoni does in finals or anything, it just maybe if Jadeja would have come, who knows? He wouldn't have been there to get those 10 runs. So who knows, man? Who knows? But that see, you can just see there Thala forever, and he got a golden duck, by the way. But that is the
Yes.
power. That is his power, man. It's almost like the whole. You saw Rodrigo de Paul fighting for Messi,
Yeah.
and it sort of gives those
Yes.
vibes.
Yes.
It just
Yes.
it's like the whole Chennai team, and just they're just sort of laying
Yeah.
out roses and red
Yeah.
carpet. Come on, walk over it
Absolutely.
and get us the title home.
You know,
Phenomenal
you know,
to
you you
see
took that
this.
analogy in sport in the recent times. I've only seen two teams really wanting to do for one man. I mean, India in 2011 was there for Sachin Tendulkar, but very evidently
Yeah,
so. Like you have this big man, everybody stands in awe of him, and then he walks in the front. He's like this big brother of the team. The big B walks in, and everybody stands. He leads the way. He tells them, and they do it. Take a bullet
yeah,
for me. They do it. That's what I'm
yeah,
trying to say. I saw that with Messi in 2022. And I'm seeing that with Dhoni. And Messi in that journey, right? Like from
yeah,
2019 to 2022, you saw Rodrigo De Paul, you saw different players. I don't want to go to
yeah.
football analogy, but then similarly here, you say Deepak Chahar to take a bullet for him, he will do it. Jadeja to take a bullet for him, he will do it. And that's what
Absolutely.
the emotions. You don't see that out of Dhoni ever, but
No.
then you saw it. You saw him
Yeah,
being emotional,
yeah.
expressive, picking Jadeja up.
Absolutely.
I mean, those are for
Surprise.
the folklore forever.
Yeah, man, that photo is gonna get just remembered forever. Dhoni doesn't do that often. Dhoni's reaction to hitting the winning six was just, moving his bat around in 2011. That was his reaction. That's it. And it was
He's just
Yuvraj
won a
Singh who was
World
doing
Cup.
the
He's just
antics.
won a World Cup, guys. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. And his reactions to winning IPL is just taking a stump off, removing his glove, and keeping it here. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yesterday he was like Jadeja. Jadeja is being tipped as, I don't know the Tamil name for it, the small thala. I don't know
Chindatala.
what's. Yeah. There you go.
I mean that I thought
So,
that was with Raina, but nonetheless, you are earning that name at the end of the
and
day.
especially it being Jadeja, after the reports we had heard about the
Yeah.
rift, maybe, and him wanting to step up in this leadership game of CSK. Absolutely. And just a side note, I was just noting the Indian stock market today, and India Cements and Srinivasan
Oh,
6% up, man. And,
oh yeah.
I mean, that is the
Sakshi,
Dhoni effect.
Srinivasan, they're right up there. I mean,
I mean, there you go. That is the Dhoni effect. I don't think any other
yeah.
team does that. Wow.
I mean, just to give it a different analogy and business perspective, they have a whole cement brand or
Hmm.
cement side of things called Super Kings. and everybody will be like,
Oh,
I want to make my house with the strongest, the Tala brand. And
yeah,
of course, Dhoni is the VP of the company and whatnot. And of course, that's more successful. And Chennai's themselves are a unicorn because of the brand of Dhoni. I mean, we're
yeah.
talking about all the side of things. I thought, why not we talk about that side as well? But let's talk about this, man. I mean, we have seen Dhoni over the years, and that moment where the last ball was going to be bowled and he bows his head down, he just didn't want to see it. He just didn't want to see it, and you was like, man, you just wanted that ball to go for a four, just because that you wanted to see what is going to happen next, because you don't want that head to be down and then the players. I mean, that should be one of the most. If you have to make a montage out of it, I know IPL made a beautiful montage of it today,
Oh,
but
yeah.
then yeah, man, that's a beautiful one, man. That's a beautiful one.
Yeah, it is strange because you don't expect he's the only person. I mean, who's won us. I think he held the record for being a champions in all sorts of
Yeah,
ICC tournaments, at least for
yeah,
India. And then it's not as if he's Kohli, if I may take a dig at you, that he's
yeah.
looking for his first IPL, and he's won
Mm-hmm.
it.
I agree.
He's done it. He's done bigger things. So you just don't
Yeah.
expect that he'll be so expressive at this point when he's probably going to achieve something he's done it. He's done already 3 4 times. But
Mm.
yesterday, I think it's like the buzz, around his retirement and
Yeah.
the like. How should I say, the unconditional showering of love by the whole of India
India.
wherever
Yeah.
is gone. It's just made
Yeah.
it. And I don't know if it was the right. I mean, certainly the best emotional decision, but I don't
Yeah.
think the script could be any better for him to retire. Like as he
I,
himself said.
he didn't say that he is not retiring. He said
Hmm.
that I'll
Yeah.
watch over my body, and that's a very MS Dhoni like thing to say,
Yeah.
because he doesn't come publicly announce it. So if you
Yeah.
want to know the hint, you know it, that he will decide and he'll know what is the best for him and the team. Because I mean, we talk about Last Dance, we talk about all these beautiful endings, and this is the most beautiful ending you one can ever expect. And I
Exactly.
know, just going back to Mahendra Singh Dhoni again. I mean, why this man doesn't show a lot of emotions has to do with the way in which he was brought up, his struggles initially for him to get a spot in the team. For him, he knows everything what is being given to him is just he's just grateful for it. It's just on that day. I mean, it's just nothing that uh, it's just been out for luck or anything. He earned it, and it's just he's grateful for every single day he's playing it. And he's very simplistic. And I love the way how Hardik quoted it. God gives it to better people, and I don't mind losing to Dhoni. And that was, I mean, if you have to lose an IPL final and tell that, I mean, the courage is, I mean, props to Hardik as well. The way in which he handled himself, the way in which he
Mm.
was carrying himself after the final. I mean, you have to say that. I mean, he has really matured as a captain as well. You're talking about
Yeah.
Dhoni. Dhoni has lost 5 IPLs as well for him to win five. This is Hardik's first ever IPL final loss. He has won 5 out of 5 IPLs in his career, and that's what we're
Mm.
talking about. And for him to take it with so much of grace, that's why
It
Gujarat
was
Titans were the best
very
opposition.
beautiful.
It was a game of the highest quality, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it was so beautiful. Even when I remember, his ballers getting plundered for sixes around the park, and he was just looking at like a fan. He seemed like a fan who was just wishing, will CSK win or not? Like he had this expression which wasn't certainly of a losing captain.
Yeah,
Oh my god, what
yeah.
do I need to do? I need to. It was
Mhm.
like it's just meant to happen. He was there. And okay,
Yeah,
well, nice. He came back into the game, 10 balls, 10 runs, 2 balls. Then he was sort of energized. But then even after the six, he was like, "Yeah, man, it's Jadeja, Dhoni's man. It has to be Dhoni's man." And you just
yeah,
saw the way at toss between the rain, how he was just with Dhoni. That their flowing conversation. He was like Dhoni is not the most expressive, but Hardik is like that chirpy kid, and like he's coming and hugging Dhoni. And Dhoni's like, yeah, man, here and there. So like beautiful, beautiful. I
yeah.
mean,
One of my favorite gestures for yesterday was when CSK won. Amidst of all that, they were celebrating, and Dhoni said, "Boys, let's go shake their hands." Number one,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that, if any young kid is watching on what you should be doing on the field, the gracefulness in which you should accept
yeah.
victory, the grace in which you should
Mm,
be accepting defeats. I mean, it was epitome of what sport was yesterday.
absolutely.
Two great teams, great people coming up against each other. No nonsense, just good cricket and just good respect for each other, and that's what sports stands for. And that's what we got to see yesterday, and that's why everybody's happy today. I mean, nobody is like saying, "Oh my God, Chennai won. What should I do
Yeah.
about it?" Everybody's
Even
literally
GT
happy.
fans are happy. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's literally happy, and that's what we're talking about. And I mean, there was another thing as well. We have to talk about how Hardik, the way in which he went and hugged Mohit Sharma yesterday for that liking. After he conceded that four, he went and gave him a hug and saying, "You did your job, man." I mean, that's why I'll just pull up the purple cap list as well, right? We have to
Needed.
talk about incredible season for the trio of Gujarat
Yeah.
Titans, Mohit Sharma, Rashid Khan, and Mohammad Shami, of course. Incredible, led them to the finals and played incredibly well in the finals. It was just not meant to be, isn't it?
Absolutely. And in the previous stream, I was hard on Mohit Sharma, and I told you, I don't really like his T20 slash negative style of bowling, wherein he just pitches up there, two bounces, and it's like 50 kilometers per hour, and he just waits for a catch out on catching someone catching it on the boundary.
Yeah.
But he showed in those first three balls of the last over. And I also, I sort of went past my bias, and I was like, that guy, like not many people come back after this, 26, 27, 28. You're there, you finally get your big break in the Indian team. Then he got
Yeah.
plundered for 150, 160 in 10 overs against South
Mm.
Africa, and that was his
Yeah,
last
yeah,
game
yeah,
played.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
since then, I just noticed, he has lost that chub. Like, he is slim now. Like, he looks fit, like fitter than ever. And he
Mm.
has like he's added a lot of variations. First of all,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
he's sort of I would say a back of the hand knuckleball, and
Yeah.
with the cross seam. So like
Yeah.
a lot of things going on there, and he's
Yeah.
played around, and it's just in his forearms that he's
Yeah.
fitter than ever, and
Mhm.
yeah, kudos to him, and
I mean, I
his
love the way in
his
which he also
variation.
celebrates his wickets. He just looks up and thanks. That's
Yeah,
what I love about these guys because they know these opportunities haven't come so easy for them. And at this point in stage, whatever they're getting, Piyush Chawla's or the Mohit Sharmas, they know
absolutely.
it's just that they're just so grateful for that one opportunity. Because why I'll take Mohit Sharma's story in particular is he was the net baller for Gujarat Titans last season. We're talking
Hmm.
about a net baller, a player who played the World Cup for India, a player who played in T20 World Cup and the One Day World Cup, was purple cap at one point this season in IPL, had this great career slump, then you're gone and lost. A lot of people would have lost their way and would have never made it up. And for him to
Absolutely.
come back and to make a statement like the way he did, credits to the team number one, but ultimately comes to credit to Mohit Sharma, the way in which he handled himself. He was not overpowered, he was not overjoyed with anything. He was just so resound. The tenacity in which he was bowling in every situation was just brilliant to watch, and that's why I give credit to these guys. And I love the way
Man,
Mohit Sharma handled himself.
kudos to Hardik Pandya. Like just like you handle a small baby. He did that.
Yeah,
He knew how dangerous Mohit Sharma could be. When you mix him with Noor Ahmed and Rashid Khan in between, and then you have sort of a fast bowler who can bowl these slow balls and stuff. So like
yeah.
what he used to do was, we saw for the first games, almost all the time he used to bowl the seventh over or the eighth over when the
Hmm.
fielding restrictions were gone. To get
Yeah,
him that confidence for the first
yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8 games. He
Mm.
wasn't used much as a new ball bowler like
Yeah,
Shami and stuff.
yeah.
And then he got one over at the death. He used to sort of complete his quota in the middle innings. Then he started getting two, and then he started getting three at the death. Then he mixed some new ball bowling with death,
Mm.
and then he became his sort of how should I say, a go-to bowler, because we
Yeah.
saw Shami getting his wickets, most of
Mm.
his wickets in the first part of the IPL. And
Yeah,
Mohit Sharma has sort of just gone exponentially high in terms of his wickets tally and also his economy, which a lot of these times, these bowlers who bowl slower balls or variations, they do tend to take wickets, like we saw the example of Harshal Patel,
yeah.
but they have high economies. That sort of
Right.
neutralizes it for me in the grand scheme of things. But Mohit Sharma has been absolutely wonderful in terms of his economy for where he bowls in the innings. And
Right.
kudos to Hardik Pandya. That is where, it's easy in hindsight. Like we again give the analogy in football to Pep, that he has had best teams and money and he just does it.
Yeah.
So it's easy to say Hardik has the team and he does it, but there's a reason. A lot of captains over the years we've seen have the teams but don't get the
Mhm.
consistency out of them. Kudos,
I mean, you're
whether
right.
it's Ashish Nehra, who's being praised now, maybe Gary Kirsten, who's a bit of a
Yeah.
silent hero, or maybe
Yeah.
Hardik himself. Credits wherever it's due.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a philosophy in itself, right? Both their teams are very similar philosophy in which they get the best out of the players. See, a lot of these players would have been rejects for the 8 other IPL franchises, and make
Yeah.
no mistake, and we've seen that time and time again how players have credited some franchises very openly. And there is something about it. It's just not one player who's credited Chennai Super Kings. It's not one player who's credited Gujarat
Yeah.
Titans. Bunch of players. It's
Yeah.
bunch of people who have come together. And I was just looking at Mochama's stats, and I love the way he's about 44 overs this IPL, which is 20 less than Mohammad Shami for that matter. And he just ended up being 1 wicket less than Mohammad Shami on the purple
Yeah.
cap tally. average of 13, economy of 8.17, whereas dominant overs
Wow.
were from 15 to 20. And
Wow.
you're talking about an
In
era.
Ahmedabad. Wow.
Exactly. In Ahmedabad, not in Lucknow, not in Chepauk, in Ahmedabad for a fast bowler in the death, bowling against all odds, picking up a 5 wicket haul in a very important match in the qualifier, showed the world what this guy can possibly do. And similarly, I like to credit, as we are going to end, Piyush Chawla as well, another bowler, economy of 8.11, 22 wickets, ball 61 overs, incredible striker of 16.
Wow.
Two players making comebacks. Other are normal names. I'm just talking about these two players in particular
Yeah.
because it's been the IPL of comebacks. Rahane is another prime example. We will talk about him before we end the stream. But I just love the way. I just love the way how every player made a point this IPL. But before we talk about, let's talk about some of the star performers. And it had to be Devon Conway who really gave the start, isn't it? Because player of the match. I'd still like to have my difference of opinion player of the match because I still think it had to be Rayudu or Jadeja
Mm.
because
Yeah.
impact matters, and who made the bigger impact at that point of stage was Rayudu or Jadeja. But let's talk about that. He gave the exact star what Chennai wanted because if he would have fallen cheaply, and
Yeah.
he had a very negative matchup against someone like a Mohammad Shami, he was averaging 1.63 prior to that game yesterday against Mohammad Shami, where he was dismissed 3 times, but then he took him on. He was like, I don't care. I'm just going hell for leather.
Oh, absolutely. And he knew it. The team tactic was quite clear. We can't do it the traditional way wherein you get set and then maybe after 7 8 overs you, because it's just the final, the pressure will eat you up. So Ruturaj, again, it's as you said, it's very hard to pick a man of the match for the Chennai. I think everyone did the job that
Yeah,
they were told to do. Every
yeah,
single one of them. Like not
yeah.
even one. You talk about Dubey, you talk about Raidu. Some did it way better than others, but everyone did. No one fell short, even of a run. You talk about Gaikwad. You talk about Conway, and of course, Conway did it, and it was pretty necessary. I think I think it was the first 5 overs at the power play.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah,
yeah. For 4 overs.
yeah, yeah, first 4 overs, right? So I think it was pretty necessary for them to capitalize, and the way he went after Rashid and
Yeah.
was to notice, and same for Gaikwad. I mean, getting I guess 18 runs of Rashid's first over,
Hmm.
pretty necessary. Getting putting pressure, because
Hmm.
Rashid and Noor, 6 overs between them. If they would have gone cheaply and just given them the confidence at the start of their bowling spells, could have smelled trouble. Although Noor, we did see how he came back with his bowling, and
Yeah.
yeah, I just believe perfect game plan and even more sort of perfect execution from the men in yellow.
I
Perfect.
mean, you're right in saying that primarily because we are in an era we're talking about where the anchor role is diminishing of T20 cricket, and
Yeah.
we are seeing no more milestones are more important. It could be a good 30 or a good 40, which is more important than 100, and that's where we are
Yeah.
heading to because you've seen so many hundreds on losing causes as IPL, and that's where I
Absolutely.
see this knock. I'll just read out the scorecards for you, right? Ruturaj 26 of 16 balls, Devon Conway 47 of 25 balls. Then there comes Shivam Dubey, 32 of 21. Ajinkya Rahane has 27 of 13, 19 of 8 by Ambati Raidu, 15 of 6 by Ravindra Jadeja, and they chased on
Perfect.
171 in 15 overs. And that is a run rate of close to 12, 11.40. And they were an absolute control doing that. So, and that's a modern day T20 batting at its absolute best on display yesterday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It reminds me when we talked of Shikhar Dhawan, who, if you look at the raw numbers, looks as if he had a good IPL, but I'm not really sure about the innings that he played, wherein he took
David Warner, we can talk about him as well.
David Warner, wherein they took up half the balls of their teams, and they probably made 75 80 runs, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
anchor role doesn't really suit every time. You'd
Mm,
rather get you skip 80, you get
mm,
50, but you do it in half the balls, and the job's done. So
yeah,
especially when nowadays these batting lineups go that deep, we see six down, Dhoni coming in at six down. So
yeah.
they knew 15 overs. Wickets is not something they need to be very aware of, and that is why they just did the job. And as we're sort of drifting there, let's just sort of pin our attention towards Sai Sudarshan, man, who
I mean,
again,
yeah, we have to talk about it.
played an anchor role in the modern way, if
Mm,
I may. He just took the baton from Shubman Gill in the most graceful way.
Yeah.
After he was stumped in the most graceful way by none
Oh
other
man, that's
than
stumping.
Dhoni.
What, 0.1 second was the reaction time? That's what the
Absolutely,
meter says
man.
at least.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If there
Incredible.
was one way to get him out, if there was one way, he
Only
would have
one
been,
man could have done it.
just get him to miss a delivery, Jaddu, and I'll take care of the
Yeah,
rest.
I mean, we miss Dhoni right now in Indian team because of these minute things in the
Absolutely.
final. Like I remember
Absolutely.
Ian Bell in 2013 Champions Trophy final,
Oh,
a stumping out of
man.
nowhere.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, nobody would have done it. If it was any other keeper in the world, would not have done it,
Absolutely.
and we won the Champions Trophy final based on it because Ian Bell was in crazy form leading into that Champions Trophy final, and
Yeah.
especially Shubman Gill with that stumping, incredible. Dhoni
Man,
masterclass
man,
right there.
what was really wonderful, Abel, was that Jadeja saying, out hai," and
Okay,
he's saying, Dhoni just doing this, and he was like, all right, and
and
it
you
looked
know
like
it.
so. Yeah, he just knew it. Like he just did it in 1/10 of a second, and he knew that he had done the job. Just a master, man. Like witnessing his
Yeah.
craft. I don't know, for the last time, it was like pleasure, man, pleasure.
Oh man, getting goosebumps saying that. But yeah, to be very honest, we have to talk about Sai Sudarshan in a little more detail as well because this guy is from the Chennai Super Kings Junior Academy. He's a
Yeah,
product of the
TNPL, a TNPL
TNPL
star.
and they have this junior schools league as well. He's been a star there. Ashwin already spotted him. Could have been a Chennai boy, Chennai Super Kings player, but not, it was not to be because more Chennai players were in the opposite team because with Vijay Shankar, Sai Sudarshan, and Sai Kishore being in Gujarat Titans over Chennai Super Kings. But nonetheless, you would have felt good playing against one
Abel,
of the
but it was
biggest
a
teams.
Gujarati who ended things for Gujarat Titans.
It had to be, right? It had to be in his home
Yeah,
ground. In his home ground.
in his
And
home ground.
because nemesis for them was a boy from Chennai. I mean, that's why we love
Absolutely.
IPL, man. That's why
Yeah,
we love IPL. It's beyond
exactly.
borders. I mean, it's beyond
Exactly.
boundaries. A man
You know,
from Jharkhand coming to
he'd
Chennai, making
be
him
he'd
his
be
own.
getting hate from his own state now, Ravindra Jadeja. Get that, man.
But he's a
How
hero today,
wonderful.
absolute hero today. And we wish on November later this year he repeats it once more in Ahmedabad because that is going to be iconic for him. Then the
Yup.
nation will cheer him because I still think that Ravindra Jadeja is my top three players in Team India in all formats because you need Jadeja.
Absolutely.
The moment you're with Jadeja, you're like handicapped, and you saw he can do this. He can do this time and time. He's a clutch player. I call him a clutch player because he's performed in all the pressure situations, and that's why I love this guy. I love the way I don't care about the rift and whatever. Let's just put that aside and let's just appreciate him for the all rounder he is in all formats.
Absolutely.
He's groomed by Dhoni. He was Kohli's man. Now he's India's go-to man. So that's how it has been.
Yeah.
But yeah, final thoughts on the IPL in general before we end the stream. How do you
Oh,
rate this IPL? I mean, it's been
man,
crazy two
wonderful.
months.
And
Yeah,
I think, if BCCI would have envisioned something as a perfect IPL for 10 teams when they decided
yeah,
to, switch it from 8 to, I think this was it. I just think it was an IPL of comebacks due to the nature of the game, how, or if we talk in an Indian context, how the Indian team is now going through an evolution wherein some players are getting off and now the
yeah,
others are
yeah.
coming in.
Yeah,
This
Andre,
was
I'll
an
just
IPL.
add to that. We were making the IPL teams, right, before some time. And maybe for the first time ever, we are having more Indian players and less foreign players in the all-time IPL 11.
Absolutely.
And we are like
Absolutely.
Kisko Dalu foreign players. And it's been Indian player dominated IPL. And you have this joy in seeing that. And you're like, I don't want a foreign player because every Indian player has an Indian backup to it. And
Absolutely.
you're
You know,
you're in absolute confusion because of that.
that middle order, any best 11 of IPL 2023, anyone's would have a middle order of Surya Kumar, Kohli, and Rinku. That just gives me goosebumps. Some might
Yes.
have Ruturaj starting
Or
or
Dubé. Just add
Shubman
Dubé
for
as well if you
sure.
want.
Sorry?
Dubé as well if you want to.
Dube, there you go. Dube, anyone, but I'm just saying Rinku, Surya Kumar, and Kohli would be there. Shubman topping it off. Imagine first five players, four are Indians without a doubt. Shami would be there. Some might put Deshpande, Piyush Chawla. It's just wonderful. Like it's been a wonderful IPL for us Indians. Finally,
Yeah.
we don't have to go sing the praises of Gales of this world and Bravos and stuff. It's Indian men doing it in the Indian premise. Sudarshan, as we saw in the final.
Absolute peak IPL. This was where talent meeting opportunity at its absolute peak. I mean, love this IPL for a lot of reasons, and this has to be right on top because Indian players come into
Even
the
in
mind.
terms of leadership, of course, some things didn't go well for some, like Shikhar Dhawan and Sanju Samson, but still getting the opportunity, showcasing Nitish Rana. I as a KKR fan, I think he did pretty well, at
Yeah,
least in terms of his batting. Like
yeah,
half of his squad just went, and we already
yeah,
know that they weren't the best team out there on
yeah,
paper.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then we saw Hardik Pandya again, not sort of telling the world that, hey, I'm not a one season wonder in terms of captaincy. Then Rohit
yeah,
Sharma again with that Mumbai Indian side going where he
yeah,
was. Dhoni doesn't need to prove anything to anyone.
yeah,
But
man.
hey, again a feather onto the cap. Brilliant,
I mean,
brilliant IPL.
when you
Brilliant.
look at keepers to choose from this IPL as well, the first name
Oh,
which goes into your mind is Dhoni, isn't it? Everybody looks like Dhoni, isn't it? Because you're still going back to him because he still
yeah.
can do a job. He's still a captain, and that's where it is. I mean, I love this. I love this IPL. I mean, it's pleasure talking about IPL because as we move to football this week, yes, it is the Manchester Derby later coming your way. We're going to be in the blue and reds because the football action now slowly switches. And hold on a minute, India are playing a final in 7 days' time from now in Oval against Australia to get the first ICC trophy in 10 years' time. So, I mean, we all are waiting for it. And also, City playing the Champions League final to get their hunt. We're going to be here covering all of these games. So, do stay tuned. If you're a football fan, cricket fan, you're going to get absolute action from here, live streams. We're going to do tactical analysis and also follow our Mad About Sports Instagram page for the latest sporting updates, some interesting trivias, some shorts, and if why do you want to choose our courses now? Now, if you're an aspiring cricket analyst or a football analyst, do check out our courses. The link is there in the description because that is where you can set a footstone into your dream career. Because if you want to be part of the CSK camp in future, giving the tactical hit, I mean, this is the opportunity, guys. Check it out. Thank you, Antarish. Pleasure talking about IPL. We'll miss the IPL, but sporting
We will.
action never stops.
It never does in India, especially when we're talking about cricket, man. Another final. I think we have the T20 World Cup this year
Oh, the
as
50
well.
over World Cup. 50 over
No,
World Cup.
do we have the T20 World Cup as well?
No, that's next year. Next year. Early next
Oh,
year.
all right. So it's like three ICC tournaments
Mega,
now.
mega,
Let's
mega.
see, man.
Oh, man. That's why
They
we are
come.
mad about sports as a country and we are mad about sports. Signing off. Bye bye.
Take care.